Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this channel is all about my journey throughout CRNA school. So today's video is going to be my semester 2 recap. If you guys are interested, let's get into the nitty gritty. Officially done with semester 2. I finished my last final on Wednesday. Today's Sunday. And I wanted to recap my grades, how I felt about this semester, and what I look forward to in next semester. All right, let's talk how I felt about this semester. So I've been mentioning in my update videos, what's been going on, what classes I'm taking, but I'll recap that now. I took General Principles of Anesthesia, Pharmacology specifically for anesthesia, Pathophysiology 1, and Health Assessment for anesthesia. And I didn't particularly enjoy this semester. I felt like it was kind of up in the air. I did still have a few of my professors from last semester, so I kind of know somewhat of how they teach and how they test, but it kind of just felt like I was set up for a failure, like especially for my general principles class. Like this professor, I guess she's been having trouble with people doing well in her class. So she's been assigning us to outline the chapters in the syllabus, which I felt was very time consuming. I actually did read and I actually did outline the chapter, and I spent hours each. I did it every Thursday. Sometimes it would take me a little longer than just one day to do the outline, but I felt like I spent the majority of my days working on her outline, and I don't feel like it reflected on me being able to be successful in the class. That class only had 2 tests. It had a midterm and a final. There were a bunch of other assignments which kind of helped not do so bad in the class, but like I was expecting an A because I thought it was like a slam dunk class, but I ended up with a B. But I'll get to the final grades in a second. I just want to continue going on about general principles. So we were outlining the chapters every week. That was an assignment. As a whole, I think it was maybe 10 or 15% of the class, like the grade. And then we did like a group project. So me and another classmate made a PowerPoint and we presented it. I forgot what other assignments we had. I know we had a paper, and the paper was worth at least, I think, 20% of the class, and then the 2 tests. So the midterm, I didn't do well. I had predicted, based on the amount of assignments that there were, that I would need between a 75 and an 80 on that test in order to be able to keep an A in the class, because there are so many assignments, so I didn't need to do so well. So at the time, too, the midterm was at the same day as my health assessment. I don't know if it was a midterm, but it was the second test for health assessment. So I prioritized health assessment because health assessment only has 4 tests, and it had a pre-op assessment as part of the class. So I was like, okay, I don't have as many assignments for health assessment, so each test weighs a lot more. I'm going to put more of my time and effort to my health assessment test because they were both on the same day. And I got a 71 on the midterm. So I was like, that's a little under where I needed to be, but maybe on the final I'll do better. So then we got the grade back for our paper. For some reason, I thought that she was just going to grade the paper like a completion grade, but she was very harsh in the grading for the paper. And what kind of bothered me is like when she went by the rubric, let's say the rubric itself said to do the strengths and weaknesses of each literature review. What she really wanted was for you to say the strengths of this review blank, the weaknesses of this review blank. If she didn't see that, she gave you no points. So like if I kind of synthesized it and said like, the population size was a little small, but I didn't actually say the word strengths and weaknesses, you got docked on those points. So, but she did give us the opportunity to rewrite it, but we couldn't get full points. So just based on the paper and my midterm, I couldn't get an A in the class. And obviously, since I had 4 exams in finals week, I said, okay, I just did the math. I needed a 50 to keep a B. So I said, okay, I think I can get a 50 without even trying for that class. So honestly, I reviewed the PowerPoints an hour before the test, and I ended up with a 69 on the final. And which gave me an 83 in the class. So, I mean, it's a B. I could not get an A just because of my midterm grade and my paper grade. So I quit trying in that class. I was also pretty like bummed because I felt like, you know, we had no guidance. It just was, I don't know. I personally don't like that there's only 2 tests in a semester. I just feel like there's too much material to ask. Too many questions. You can't really retain all that information. Like at least, 8 or 9 weeks of material. To me, I just feel like it's just too overwhelming. I always do poorly on cumulative tests. This wasn't a cumulative test, but it was also, you know, so many weeks worth of material that it felt almost like it was cumulative. But anyway, so for general principles, I got a B. Then pharmacology. I did mention in a previous video, I'll link it somewhere in this video, that I failed my first exam for pharmacology. It kind of feels like a repeat of semester 1 with my A&P test, but yeah, I did really bad on my first test. I got a 66. So I did the math on that. Like even if I got hundreds on the midterm, it wasn't really a midterm, it was test 2 and test 3. If I got hundreds on those, I still wouldn't get an A. So not that I stopped trying, I just felt like I needed to get as high up as possible in order to maintain a B in the class because I couldn't get an A. So on the second test, it was kind of like, at that point was when our first, because it was like 2/3 of the class was taught by a CRNA, and then the last third of the class was taught by a pharmacist, because it was like mostly anesthesia specific drugs, and then it was adjunct drugs. So the adjuncts were taught by the pharmacist, and he taught 1 lecture before we took the second test. So there was some of his material, some of the other teachers' material, and we were all kind of like in shock when we received the test, because some of the lectures that he had covered, the first teacher had covered, weren't even on there. You know, like I mentioned it, I think before, maybe in my semester 2 week 12 update, I don't remember now, but he completely omitted a few lectures, like post-op nausea and vomiting and local anesthetics were not on this test at all. So we kind of were like, we studied a whole bunch of stuff, like this is hours of our day, hours of our time. We could have focused on what was really going to be on the test if you weren't going to ask that, you know. So it was kind of upsetting. I did the best I could. I got an 81 on that test, which was actually pretty high for the class average, but I think that it was, I don't know if maybe everybody else was struggling as well because of the second test. I was struggling because of the first, but that's on me because I didn't know what to expect. It was the first time I ever had a test from that professor, and I felt like my studying wasn't effective for what that test was. But anyway, when it came to the class average, it was pretty low. So they sent us a take-home exam to make up for the second test, because he did say that, you know, he said that he uploaded the wrong exam, which I personally don't believe. I just think that he was pulling questions and wasn't sure which lectures were covered. I don't know. But the take-home exam really bumped my grade. After the take-home exam, so after the second test, I had a 78 in the class. Then with the take-home exam, I got an 85. So I said, okay, as long as I keep my final above a B, I'll keep a B in the class. You know, I needed above a B. And while I was studying for that pharm test, because now it was the last third was the pharmacist's material, but it was a cumulative exam, so it still had 30% of stuff from the previous material that we were all struggling with. So I was kind of nervous. Like I thought, okay, at least I'll get a 70. But he did send us a review for the cumulative stuff, the first professor, and it was actually pretty, like I think I got all of those questions correct. And when I hit submit, because it was 104 questions, yeah, I kind of at some point, like, you know, when you write down, maybe it's just me, I write down which questions I'm unsure about so that I can calculate what my grade could be before I hit submit. Because I'm like, okay, if I wasn't sure on 30, then that means I could at least get a 70, you know? So I wrote down 34 that I was unsure about. There was 4 extra credits, so it was 30. There was 1 I guessed completely, so 29. I was like, wow, this is not gonna be a good outcome. So when I hit submit, the grade populated, and it was a 92. I was like, is this my grade? Because it didn't feel like that was my grade. But then in retrospect, when I was looking at, how the questions were asked, I felt like the professor kind of helped us out. Like the question was like, point blank, the question. I personally was like, ooh, I'm not quite sure on this answer. But then when you look at the answer responses, it was like, it could only be one. Like the other three were completely unrelated. So I was like, did he do this on purpose to help us out because we were doing so bad at the beginning? I don't know. But I felt like maybe I did study well enough, but I was kind of like having really, really bad anxiety for that exam. And I'm just glad I got a 92. And that gave me an 88 in the class. So, I came back. I almost got an A, I guess. But yeah, so now recapping, I got an 83 in general principles, which is a B, an 88 in pharmacology, which is also a B. Now let's get into health assessment. So health assessment, I felt like, I thought it would have been an easy class, but I actually did have to put in some effort. At first the professor was like, oh, all you have to do is read my PowerPoints and you'll do well in the exams. And not that I didn't listen to her, I just was like, you know what, for the first exam, I'm going to prepare ahead of time. I'm going to read the chapters that are assigned. And she in the syllabus itself, she literally highlighted the pages you need to read. It wasn't like you had to read all of chapter 5. Like it was like chapter 5, pages 1 through 6, like it was pretty highlighted what she needed, because obviously it was just health assessment. So it was like it would be a certain disease process in the health assessment portion. So I actually read that, and I personally felt like reading the chapter helped. So then when it came to taking the test, I felt prepared, and the first exam I got a 93. The second exam I got an 88. That one was a little more difficult, but I did feel like there was more material that was covered in that one. So a 90, did I say 93? Well, anyway, an A in the first one, an 88 on the second one. The third exam, I got a 92. And then the last one was strange. The last exam was strange because I was putting the majority of my efforts for my Wednesday finals, because I had the two finals. I had the general principles in the morning and health assessment in the afternoon. I put more of my efforts to health assessment. Like I said, there was no way that I could get an A in general principles. And I felt like, I don't know, I could get an A in health assessment. I don't know how to explain it, but I felt like general principles was up in the air. Like if you look at what I write here for my notes, this was for last semester, it says like what lectures I need to cover, and then for general principles, it just says don't know. Because I really didn't know what to study. Like that professor really didn't guide us at all. Her review, let me tell you, her review was a joke. I was like, what is she saying? Like none of this was covered. I don't even know what she's saying. But yeah, so health assessment, when I hit submit, there was a bunch of free responses. So the final grade wasn't complete. Like she needed to add some points back in, based on our free response questions and or answers, free response answers. And when I hit submit, it said 74. And when I had done the math, I needed a 79 to keep my A. And I was so bummed. I was like, oh, wow, I just got another B. Like I thought for sure, like I got 3 Bs this semester, but I stayed quiet and I waited because obviously there was things that needed to be graded. And when I refreshed the grade later on in the day, I had gotten a 96 on the final. I was like, I didn't think it went up that high, but anyways, I ended up with a 95 in the class. So I got an A. And then Pathophysiology was my the last one for this semester. I had already an A in the class, and I had done the math, and I needed to get an 83 to maintain my A. And that's pretty high. Not saying that it's not doable, but it was a cumulative exam as well. The pharmacology one and the patho one were the 2 cumulative exams. So I was like kind of nervous about it. He did send us a review PowerPoint to go over, so I did. But it was like, you're studying for 4 exams, so I kind of was like, each day I would give it like for one class, and I gave patho the day before. So I only reviewed the day before, and I reviewed the course review PowerPoint that he sent us, and I reviewed the 3 lectures that he covered that were going to be on this exam as well. This test had, I think, 63 questions, but what he did mention was that the majority of it was going to be material from the first part of the semester. So 50% was going to be cardiac, 25% was going to be renal, and 25% was going to be the new material, which was pulm. So I did cover the pulm stuff because I'm like, if he covered it, it's probably, fair game. So I reviewed those lectures, and then I reviewed the course review, and then I went through kind of all of the PowerPoints just to like skim through what was covered, just in case I forgot anything. And personally, I was like, I'm just gonna have to wing it because I don't know where these questions can come from. It can come from any of the lectures. And he did give us a pulmonary workbook to do, so I did that, and I did think it helped. But anyway, so I took the final, and when I hit submit, I got an 88. So I was like, okay, I kept my A, and then I guess he gave a point back or two, so I got, my final was a 90. So then my grade in the class was a 91, I think it was a 91, or maybe even a 92. So that was an A. So I got 2 A's and 2 B's this semester, and finals week was trash. I really was like, I needed, after each test, I would literally sit outside like a vegetable because like my brain couldn't process any more information at the moment. Like I needed an hour before I got back into the books because obviously I had a final almost every day. I had a final on Monday, a final on Tuesday, and 2 finals on Wednesday. And I just was like, my brain is overloaded. I don't think that I'm going to do as well as I need to. And it was just like, it was frustrating, overwhelming, stressful, like all of the above, all the feels. And I mean, I'm just happy that I came out on top. Like I got all the grades that I possibly needed. I needed to maintain B's in 2 classes, and I needed a certain grade to keep an A in the other ones, and I got that. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm happy with myself. I just like, I'm grateful that this semester is over. From what I hear from the upperclassmen is that we should embrace that semester because semester 3 is way worse. But like I've said before, I'd rather be in semester 3 than in semester 2. So for semester 3, what's to expect? We have a health informatics class that's going to be online, which I believe is more like busy work. I don't think there are any tests. And then we have regional anesthesia, which I'm actually really excited for. The only thing that's kind of like giving me like a little hesitance toward the class is that the same professor that taught the beginning pharmacology is teaching that class. So I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. Then we're learning, we're doing Patho 2. So this semester we had Pathophysiology 1. So we'll have the same professor that taught Patho, but for Patho 2, which I love him. Like he is very fair. His PowerPoints are exactly how he tests. Like I know what to expect from the guy, and that's why I feel like I do so well in his exams because I know how he tests. But yeah, so we have health informatics, regional anesthesia, Patho 2. We have a surgical procedures class, which is taught by the same person who taught our general principles class, and I'm understanding here that we have to do outlines as well, but I don't know how successful it's going to be. But I do feel like that class is going to be interesting because I don't know all the procedures that there could possibly be as far as surgical procedures and positioning, because the anesthesia portion is pretty similar. There are different tweaks based on comorbidities and things like that, and wherever the surgical site is, but learning different positions that you can have the patient in, because we're kind of responsible for that. So it'll be interesting. And then what's the last class? Oh, it's something about coexisting diseases, and that's the same professor that taught our health assessment. So I'm not sure what to expect there, but I am looking forward to semester 3. I start that like in a day or two. There's no breaks in between semester 2 and semester 3, which is fine. I kind of just want to like get them over with. As far as the didactic, I'd rather just be done with semester 4 so that I'm already working. But it is what it is. Time passes and we'll get there eventually. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my semester 2 recap. I'm happy that it's over. I'm happy I did well. So far, so good. I'm looking forward to semester 3 and ready to move on. We do get 3 weeks off between semester 3 and semester 4, so that's pretty awesome. It's going to be a little refresh before diving into the last semester of real heavy didactic. But other than that, that's all I have to really say for this video. I feel like I'm getting there, I'm doing it, and it just feels really good that I'm at this point already. Like, you know, I feel like I started 8 months ago and I'm already through semester 2, and I'm not, I'm a little far off of the goal, which was to get a 4.0, but I'm not upset with the outcome because it is a terminal degree. It really doesn't truly matter the grades at this point as long as I pass the boards, right? But yeah, I'm just like, I'm happy, I'm feeling good. I went out yesterday to celebrate the end of semester 2, and I'm really exhausted. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.